If you are dealing with wrist pain at the moment when you play, or you've had bouts of wrist pain in the past when you play tennis, then you know it sucks, and that's why I want to show you some exercises that can be really effective at quickly reducing pain. You can also do them as part of your warm-up as a preventative strategy. So we're going to be working on mobilizing two different nerves. Nerves are what carry information from the brain to muscles, and from the muscles and everything else back to the brain. And nerves being able to move freely is really important for them doing their job, but sometimes they get stuck to surrounding tissues, and when that happens, your brain doesn't like it, so that can be an underlying cause of pain. But just by mobilizing and making them move more effectively, it can very quickly turn down the pain. So hopefully you find this video helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you could give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it's always much appreciated because it really helps me out if you could do that as well. Now, in addition to mobilizing your nerves, it can often be really important to increase strength in the muscles in the forearm and wrists. So I'll place a link to a resource to help you out with that down in the description as well. But here we're going to do two nerve mobilizations. The first one is going to be for the median nerve. This is the nerve that supplies some of the muscles on this side of the wrist that bend the fingers and bend the wrist. So often really helpful for pain on this side of the wrist or forearm. The second nerve we're going to work on is for the radial nerve, which supplies the muscles on this side of the wrist that pull it back. Also supplies the triceps, but it tends to be better for pain on this side of the wrist. Now, when we work on nerves, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a little bit of tension in the nerves. So we're trying to stretch them out a little bit, but we don't want to crank on them really hard. It's a nerve at the end of the day. So in terms of maximum stretchiness, you want to be thinking it around a 2 or a 3 out of 10 in terms of maximum stretch. So if 10 is like, oh, that's really intense, we want to come way down from that and not push it too much. Now we'll start with the median nerve, and when it comes to the median nerve, we're looking for sensation. We might feel a little bit kind of tingly electrical feeling into maybe the first couple of fingers. It might feel tight in the wrist, it might feel really kind of tight in the forearm somewhere. But that's what we're looking for. But then we're going to go through a specific sequence, because the nerve attaches to the brain, comes out through the neck, through the spine, through something called the brachial plexus, past the shoulder, past the elbow, and it attaches down there. So we're going to be moving it from both ends. So in order to do that, I'm going to get in a certain position. I'm going to spread my fingers, I'm going to bend my hand back, I'm then going to take my arm to the side. And in this position, potentially, you might have a tingly feeling or a sensation. And if it's about 3 out of 10, stop in this position. But depending how flexible things are, you might need to lower your shoulder blade. Now this can really increase the tension quickly. So don't kind of lower your shoulder blade really fast, lower it slowly and under control. So the shoulder blade being this movement, lower that slowly and under control. And often for people, that's going to ramp up the tension really quickly. So for me, I would stop there as about a 3 out of 10. But potentially you might have more flexible nerves than me, and you might also need to move your head away. For me, as soon as I move my head away, it takes it to way more than 3 out of 10. So I personally don't go to there, but depending on how your body functions, you might need to go to there in order to get your 3 out of 10. So go through that now and kind of find your 3 out of 10 position, because then what we're going to do is we're going to mobilize the different joints that this nerve runs through. So for me in this position, I've got my 3 out of 10. I'm just going to back away from it a little bit, so it's about a 2 out of 10. And then the first mobilization I'm going to do is by tilting my head away. And now as I do this, it creates more tension in the nerve. So I'm basically feeling a tingly into my fingers through my wrist. So I'm just going to do that around 4 or 5 times and then shake it out and rest. Then I'm going to re-find that position again. And now I'm going to find my position. That's a 3 out of 10 for me. And then I'm going to gently move the shoulder blade up and down, maybe 3, 4, 5 times, just going up to that 3 out of 10 and then backing away. So as I lift my shoulder blade up, it takes the tension off, and then as I lower my shoulder blade, it increases. But I'm going to rest after a few reps. Then I'm going to work on the elbow. So I'm going to find my 3 out of 10 tension again. I've got it there. And now I'm just going to gently bend my elbow. And as I do that, it takes the tension off. And then I'm going to straighten my elbow. And as I do this, I'm kind of mobilizing this nerve through the different tissues in and around the elbow. Again, 3 to 5 reps, shake it out, have a little bit of a rest. Then we'll do one final mobilization. Now we're going to be working on the wrist. So I'm going to find the position, and then I'm going to relax the wrist to take the tension off, and then extend the wrist or bend it back to increase the tension. And I'm just going to do that 4 or 5 times. So now what we've done here is we've kind of moved things in and around the neck where they come out. We've gone through the kind of brachial plexus and shoulder. We've made sure things aren't stuck at the elbow, and then we've gone for the wrist. And that can be a very, very effective way to help people get rid of pain quickly. Now we're going to work on the radial nerve. So this is the one that's better for helping turn down pain on the back of the wrist. The way that we're going to get into it is going to be slightly different. Previously, we've bent our wrist back like that, so we extended our wrist. This time around, we're going to flex our wrist. So I'm going to flex my wrist like that, and then I'm going to go into this position. So last time I bent it back and externally rotated my shoulder. Now I'm flexing it, and then I'm internally rotating my shoulder. And this time around, we're looking for a sensation maybe somewhere on the back of the hand, the back of the wrist, maybe into the outside of the elbow. So that's kind of what we're looking for, thinking of stopping at that 3 out of 10 tension again. So I'm in that position. I don't have any tension in this position. So if I lower it down, I have a little bit, but for me, this one, I can go a little bit further. So I actually have to lower my shoulder blade and tilt my head away before I get to the 3 out of 10 tension, and then I can feel it in there. So that's what you're going to need to do as well. Go through that sequence and see if you can find your 3 out of 10 tension, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did previously. We're going to mobilize at the neck, we're going to mobilize at the shoulder, we're going to mobilize at the elbow, and then at the wrist. So I find my 3 out of 10 tension and just do maybe 3, 4, 5 reps with my head. So there's the tension, I take it off, increase the tension, take it off. Just relax, move things around, then go for the shoulder. So now I'm just going to raise and lower the shoulder blade. As I raise it, it takes the tension off. As I lower it, it increases the tension. A few reps, take a rest. Then we're going to mobilize at the elbow. So find that position again. And now I'm just going to bend my elbow, straighten my elbow, bend my elbow, straighten my elbow. Relax it, and then go for the final one, which is going to be mobilizing at the wrist. So now I'm just letting my wrist relax, and then I'm flexing it or bending it again. I'm going to do that maybe 4 or 5 times. Okay, so that's how you work on the radial nerve, and that's normally better for this side. And you know what I should say is, if when you do either of these nerve exercises it reproduces the pain or it makes things worse, then don't do it. Instead, what I'm going to recommend that you do is do exactly the same thing on the other side of the body. So if it hurts here when you try your median nerve, don't give up on the exercise just yet. Instead, do that same median nerve exercise, but on the other arm, because very often that can help to turn the pain down instead. Okay, cool. Hopefully that has been useful to you. Give it a try, see how you get on. If it calms things down, leave me a comment and let me know. I always like to hear those things. If you have any questions about how to apply things or any questions about the exercise, obviously leave those in the comment section as well. Last thing I want to do before I go is let you know about a free workshop that I've got coming up. This is a neuro tennis workshop. I run them every week, every couple of weeks. They're live events, they're on different topics, working on different aspects of technique, but also working on improving your skill using brain-based training. So I help players to improve vision, and I help players to improve coordination, because really, if you want to play high level tennis, you've got to practice in the right way, but it's all about moving and seeing like a high level tennis player. You've got to have the skill to be able to do what you want to do. So I'll place a link to the next workshop down in the description so that you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.